Hello, it's Sondra. I'm in my happy place. I've been away in Sri Lanka, as you know, came back home and I've been working through a few flower paintings. I don't know why, but I just felt like painting flowers for a while. I usually paint abstracts and something inspired by nature, but for some reason flowers I just felt like painting flowers. And you've really got to listen to your intuition. If something in your head is saying, or your heart, when you look at flowers and you feel that feeling of, wow, aren't they beautiful? The passion's there. That's going to work for you in your art, because if you can get that feeling down onto the canvas, that's what sells your art, the feeling onto the canvas. Even if you're angry, you get the feelings out there, and when you calm down, you might be able to turn that into a really good painting. So don't be afraid to let go on the canvas. It's, if you can. It takes years to do this. Some people have never can achieve it. It's quite hard to think, why is my art not very good? You're very judgmental of yourself. You look at other people's work and you think, oh wow, aren't they so clever? Wish I could do that. But no, stop wishing and stop hoping and stop dreaming about maybe. Just do. That's all I can say, is just get out there, get a brush in your hand and start doing. I came back from Sri Lanka, as I said, and I've been painting flowers, but I was really inspired to paint flowers from this lady here. And I don't know, probably a lot of you would know about her, Frida Kahlo. She is really a big inspiration for me. A little bit about her: she was a Mexican. She married a very famous mural artist from Mexico called Rivera Diego. He was a lot older than her. They had a very tempestuous marriage, very difficult marriage. And she started painting. She actually had a bad accident when she was young, and she ended up with some damage to her spine and her back, and ended up getting some support, I guess so, like rods put in her back when she was young. So when she got married and she wanted to have a family, she couldn't conceive. She could conceive, but the baby she could never hold the baby full term. So she lost lots and lots of babies. And some of her work is quite dramatic. I just can't put my foot onto it. I can't find it immediately, but her work talks about the pain that she was feeling with the loss of the babies that she was trying to keep. And yeah, her work is sort of quite grotesque at times. It's quite confronting, but it's about her emotions. And I guess that's why it has such a profound effect on artists today. And I like her work because she painted from the heart. She painted from what her own life experienced, and she just put it out there. And she became famous later on, but now she's even more famous since she died. This is just a photo here of her and Rivera Diego, and they call them the unlikely match. She was tiny, rather gorgeous Mexican, and he was very overweight. But I guess they loved each other, who knows. They had lots and lots of unhappy times, but anyway, I was just going to show see if I can find some of her work. I don't know if I can. Yeah, she did a lot of sort of surrealism type work about this sort of look. Okay, I just can't put my hand on it all straight away. But this to me is one of her most beautiful paintings. This is really gorgeous of her. This is what she looked like, and this was her. She also painted herself with, you can see Rivera Diego up there. So obviously he's got into her head, and this is a Mexican, I think it's a Mexican marriage gown. So yeah, she's not too happy there, does she? So, but have a read up about her, because she's just fascinating. And she was in a wheelchair a lot of the time, as you can see. She painted a lot of sad paintings like these. There's that one that I showed you before with Riviera on the forehead. And she was often painted with a lot of flowers, a lot of monkeys on her shoulders, and almost surrealism, the suggestion of things that were happening in her life. This is a really sorry, this is a really beautiful painting of hers, but this is, again, I'm not sure what was happening there, but she's also got things like skeletons in her work, as you can see that. So yeah, it's confronting work, and she talked about being, having a twin, herself as a twin, her and herself. So there they are, they're connected together. So that was obviously her and her thoughts, with the bleeding hearts and the connection. So whether it was something she created out of all the pain that she went through, she was suffering and she had a lot of pain in her life. She also painted a lot of flowers. So flowers were a big thing in her life, and colour. So, but for me, I was inspired by her because she's a very strong woman. Even though she had a terrible marriage and she stood up to him, she was very strong, and she kept painting. She painted away all her emotions and her frustrations, and it just helped her cope, I guess, and by painting her reality, which is what we see in the books today. So my advice is go and have a read about this lady, because I think she's somebody that a lot of people know about her today. A lot of people admire her for what she's, and her ability to paint. So I decided I'd paint 3 paintings of Frida. Now, I'm not a very good portrait artist, but I have been trying, and I'm just not quite there yet with her face, but I've been putting my flowers together with Frida's face. So as you can see, I'm not quite there yet. There's just still something there missing, but I've got to stand back now, having created this, and I've got to stand back and just keep looking at it and thinking, what else can I do? And I painted it with the flowers because flowers were very important in her life. Big long earrings were important in her life. Colour was important in her life, and she was a very beautiful woman, as you can see. She wasn't, and she was looked after herself quite well when she was well. Birds featured a lot in her lives, and monkeys. So this is one I'm still working on, and it's not finished at all. The face looks too wide here. I've got to do something in the mouth. I can see just looking at it now. Again, the flowers, I've put the concept of flowers around her, and the bird sitting around near her. So she always had nature around her, lots of green, lots of leaves and things. And the third one I'm working on is just her with her eyes closed. And again, the face isn't right. I do have a lot of trouble with faces, so I've seriously got to look at this and spend some time trying to work out how to create that face into there, even if the eyes are shut. So, but the flowers are, I've been having a lot of fun with these flowers. What I've been doing is using limited colours really. I'm just going back to this one here. I've used magenta, and I've used cad yellow, black, there's magenta, and with the magenta and white, of course, the black and white have created the grey here. The black and the cad yellow created the green, that beautiful green. It makes a beautiful taupey greeny colour, as you can see. So this is, I can give you these mixtures. I'll actually do a program on what I've done, but I've mixed a lot of the painting on the actual canvas as I've created this, and I think the flower looks great. I'm happy with that. It's just now the face. That's probably the better one of all of them, but the other 2, I've been working on these 2 today, and I've just got this far and I've stopped. As you can see, I'm looking at it now. That certainly is not her. This is looking a bit more like her, but there's something wrong. I think it's definitely yeah, there's something wrong with that eye there, and you can just see the lips there. Yeah. So, but again, don't try and finish your painting in one go. My suggestion to you is just slowly work through the process. Do what you can. When I was doing these, I actually planned and put her face in first, and then I created the outline of the flowers. Just rough scribble with a pencil, and then I had something to work off. I didn't just go bang, 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 as I would with an abstract painting. I actually planned it quite well. So I wanted the focal point to be in this bottom third here, her face, to come up and go across, and you've got the beautiful flower. As I said, this is the one I like the most of all, and when I finished it, I'll be putting these up onto Blue Thumb, where I sell my work. So these are only small. These are actually 60 by 50 by memory, so that's a good size. I wouldn't recommend these canvases. These are skinny canvases. You better have a thicker canvas. It looks a lot better. But one good thing about these, you can actually frame them and they can look pretty good. These are quite cheap canvases. I can't remember what I paid. I think it was about $15 or something each for them. So, but I've had a lot of fun creating this series and just learning a bit more about Frida and her life. When I'm painting, if I'm painting someone that I want to work with, I'll actually start reading the book again so I can try and get into feeling what their life was like. So I try to then portray that onto the canvas. Now, as I said, this one is not good at all. This is not right. And that's why I'm happy to show it to you, because that is really a bad imitation of Frida. So this is what happens. We make bad art, and that's fine, providing you don't get hung up on the factors. Oh my golly, my art is terrible. I'm a terrible painter. Get those thoughts out of your mind, for goodness sake, because what you feed into your mind is what you become. So you must try and feed positive comments into your brain. You could turn it around and say, I'm becoming a really accomplished artist and I'm learning to paint beautiful flowers in the style that I like. Or I'm happy with where I'm at the moment. I'm learning and progressing and going forward, rather than saying I'm a useless, hopeless, bad artist. So, but if the science is now finding that those people that walk around with all this negative thoughts all the time, they actually end up becoming very negative people to talk to, and you don't want that. You want to be positive about your life, and being positive and feeding your brain with positive thoughts is very important. Okay, I found that in my own life, that feeding positive thoughts into my brain actually helps me cope with some of the things I've had to deal with in the last few years. We all have stuff happening. Our lives are not just plain sailing and all happy. I don't know anybody who doesn't have any sort of problems, be it health, money, psychological, children, family, parents, whatever. We've all got issues. Some of us have more than others, but it's learning how we cope with it. If you want to learn some of my techniques I actually have a program. One of the first ones I put out was just my very first art program, and there's a whole series of it on mental health. Just a little bit about how to analyse how you feel, what's happening, and how to cope with certain things. And I'm going to be probably concentrating a little bit more on mental health, because that is really my speciality. I am a counsellor and a teacher, and I also focus in on art for healing. That's why I do it. So I'm going to be putting out more programs, but more getting into the mind and getting the mind to create that Zen space, that happy, playful zone that you get into when you paint. And once you're in it, you know you're in it, because you start creating some really beautiful work. I think I started to get into it here, but the face not there. This was, no, I did this morning, and it's only halfway there. This one has been going for a few days, and apart from her face and the few problems, I'm actually quite happy with that, and I'm happy with putting the bird in there, because that is very much her life. Nature, flowers, birds, you know, and she loved to show that she was a Mexican, a very beautiful Mexican woman, as you can see, and dressing up with, you know, colour. Colour was her big thing, always colour, and always the hair up, and always looking like, you know, a very stylish person. So, there you are. That's my lesson for today. It's only 15 minutes, but I just wanted to say, don't ever doubt yourself. Go forward, be positive, and just pick up that paintbrush when you're feeling really down and start painting, and you'll be amazed at what happens. I have been amazed at what's happening to me. I know I'm on the right track at the moment, because things seem to be fitting in really well. When things are really hard and you struggle, that happens too, but suddenly you'll have a breakthrough and you sort of think, oh, it's good, I'm learning. So we never stop learning in art. I guess that's why I love it, because you're always challenged, You're always learning, and you're always learning new techniques, new ways of presenting, and trying to be creative and try and be different from other people. Don't copy other people, is what I was going to say. Just do what you feel like doing. If you start copying, it's not your work. You can start getting ideas from them, sure, like here's a pillow here, for example. And you've got a macaw bird there, and you've got these leaves. So you might want to use some of this bird's ideas or the leaves. Sure, that's fine. I'm for that. But don't just, draw it out like this and actually paint a painting like that, because that's not your work. You've got to do what comes from you if you can. Even if you just use part of it, like you might want to just do part of the painting. For example, I'm just trying to think, probably more over here. Like if I just want to do a flower painting with these flowers here, the top flowers and maybe the third one, and just put in some greenery there. There's a painting within that. There's probably a painting within that bit too, with half a painting. See what I mean? The mysterious look with half a painting. And you can, once you paint, you can divide some of your work up into little bits like so. You've got the bird there with the flowers, and you might want part of her eye. So you can take it up like that and across. But anyway, again, don't be afraid to be creative with the work that you've done too. And try and look at it with really different eyes. Play around with it. Bring out your phone, take photos, and then just cut and have a look at this and have a look at that. Because within every painting we do, there's probably about 4 or 5 paintings you can do. So, but I haven't done any. I've just done these 3. Again, a very different Frida in different ways. But anyway, I've got to keep working on the face, as you know. I'll get there, and hopefully I'll show you what I finish very soon. Could take a week or so. I try to stand back from my art too for a while and look at it as I walk by. Just look and keep looking, because the more you look, the more you see, and then you can make changes. Okay? Thanks for watching, and thank you for following me. I really love what I do. I'm really happy with all the lovely followers I've got, and I get such lovely comments, so thank you so much, and enjoy your painting. Bye.